Have you ever wondered how to really hear from God in your everyday life? Hearing from God, it's a concept that's at the very heart of the Christian faith. I mean, think about it, if we're followers of God, shouldn't we be able to hear from Him? Shouldn't we be able to sense His presence in our lives? But for many of us, this can be a real struggle. We might find ourselves wondering if God is even speaking to us at all. The truth is, hearing from God is crucial in our walk with Him. It's how we receive guidance, comfort, and direction. It's how we build a deeper relationship with Him. And yet, despite its importance, many of us still struggle to tune into His voice. So, what does it mean to hear from God? Well, it's not just about receiving some kind of mystical revelation or hearing a voice in our heads. It's about being sensitive to His presence in our lives, it's about being open to His guidance and wisdom, and it's about learning to discern His voice above the noise of our daily lives. Let's be real, hearing from God can be tough. There are so many distractions and obstacles that can get in the way. We're constantly bombarded with noise, whether it's social media, television, or just the hustle and bustle of everyday life. And on top of that, we've got our own thoughts and emotions to contend with. It's easy to get caught up in our own fears, doubts, and worries. One of the biggest obstacles to hearing from God is distraction. We're so used to being constantly connected, constantly entertained, that we've forgotten how to slow down and listen. We're like the Israelites in the wilderness, constantly looking for the next thing, the next excitement, the next distraction. And yet, God is whispering to us in the stillness, if only we would take the time to listen. Another obstacle is doubt. We doubt whether we're really hearing from God, or if it's just our own imagination. We doubt whether we're worthy of hearing from God, or if we're just not good enough. We doubt whether God is even speaking to us at all. And that doubt can be paralyzing. It can keep us from taking risks, from stepping out in faith, from hearing God's voice in the first place. We're also really busy, and our busyness can be a major obstacle to hearing from God. We're so caught up in our own plans, our own agendas, that we don't leave any room for God to speak. We're like Martha, running around, trying to get everything done, and in the process, we forget to sit at Jesus' feet and listen. Fear can also be a huge obstacle to hearing from God. We're afraid of what we might hear, afraid of what God might ask us to do, afraid of the unknown. We're like the disciples on the road to Emmaus, walking away from the resurrection, afraid to face the reality of what's happened. And then there's the fear of silence. We're afraid that if we take the time to listen, we might not hear anything at all. We're afraid of the silence, afraid of the quiet, afraid of being alone with our own thoughts. So, how do we overcome these obstacles and start hearing from God? Well, the first step is to create space to listen. We need to slow down, take a deep breath, and create some margin in our lives. We need to learn to be still, to be quiet, and to listen. Prayer is another essential tool in hearing from God. It's how we communicate with Him, how we express our hearts, our desires, our fears, and our doubts. It's how we ask for guidance, for wisdom, and for direction. Meditating on Scripture is also crucial in hearing from God. It's how we get to know His character, His nature, and His heart. It's how we learn to discern His voice above the noise of our own thoughts and emotions. Seeking spiritual guidance is also important. Whether it's through a mentor, a pastor, or a spiritual director, we need people in our lives who can help us navigate the ups and downs of hearing from God. I remember a time in my life when I was facing a major decision. I was stuck, I didn't know what to do, and I was desperate for guidance. I spent hours in prayer, seeking God's direction, seeking His wisdom. And as I waited, as I listened, I started to sense a gentle whisper in my heart. It was a whisper of peace, of direction, of guidance. It was God speaking to me, guiding me, and directing me. It was a turning point in my life, a moment when I realized that I could hear from God, that I could sense His presence in my life. It was a moment of freedom, of peace, and of joy. As we come to the end of this video, I want to leave you with a challenge. Take some time to listen, take some time to slow down, and take some time to hear from God. Don't be afraid of the silence, don't be afraid of the unknown, and don't be afraid to take risks. Remember, hearing from God is a journey, it's a process, and it's a skill that can be developed over time. So, be patient, be persistent, and be open. God is speaking, are you listening? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share your own experiences in the comments below. If you're looking for more spiritual encouragement, be sure to check out our next video.